All right, watch people. I'm gonna do a quick unboxing here. For those of you that are like, just get to the point, I gotta see the what? Fast forward. It's there. Just drag your finger until you see the box open. I'd usually do an intro to describe what it is I'm doing, what's going on with the channel, maybe why I bought this, some history of the brand, the history of why I wanted it, whatever it might be. And then we get into the unboxing. So it's more than just, here's the specs. You can go to the website and figure that out yourselves. Although I will go over them once I open it. The reason I bought this particular watch is trying to round out my collection. So I don't have a Movado, so I need one. Also, I wanted a dial that looked completely different from any other watch that I own. So that's the second reason. The third is this particular watch is not sentimental, but it's I grew up in the 70s and 80s. Well, I was born in 72. So, you know, growing up in the 80s, in high school in the late 80s, graduated in 90, early 90s and stuff was when Movado really started coming around, and there was the museum piece, right? It was on the display in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I believe it was. And it was like the Grail watch, because when you're 18, 19, 22 years old in that range, no one's thinking Rolex back then. You think of Rolexes, it was so, even though back then they were cheaper, you're talking about watches in the thousands. That might as well have been millions, right? To a kid, you know, making $4 an hour at the mall. And so, you know, you looked at the Movado and it was just this beautiful, elegant, clean work of art, hence why it's the museum piece. But even then, you know, they were like $500 or $800 or whatever they were at the time. That's still a ton of money. That was like 3 months worth of car payments and probably gas money. Like that was a ton of money back in the early 90s, you know, to somebody just starting out in life. So this for me was always kind of a Grail watch, even though by today's standards, it's not that expensive. I've got watches way more expensive. This one's more expensive than that, my Longines Hydro Conquest. But I always wanted one. And it makes me kind of think back to those years where I was like, man, hopefully someday I get enough money I could buy one of these. And granted, I forgot about it for years. I could have afforded this for the last 30 years. But I just saw this, and I've been thinking about a Movado lately. And of course, you know, they lose some of the allure in my eyes over the years because you realize, well, they're not that special. They're not that expensive. There's frankly lots of other watches more expensive. But I was like, you know what? I just want one. I've always wanted one. I always thought I should have one in my collection. They're beautiful. I think they're one of the nicest looking watches. And so I took my wife over to Tripp and Company Jewelers over in Dawsonville to see my guy Mick, Mick with an M. And I was looking through, I was thinking about a couple Hamiltons, a couple Seikos. And then she was like, what about that one? And she pointed to it, and I was like, that's it. I hadn't seen that one in there before. So what one am I talking about? 3 minutes in, let's actually do the unboxing. This is from their Bold series, although on their website, it is called the Museum Classic. So I'm going to go over the specs. I like the box. I did get it sized for me. We only had to take off 3 full-size links, I think, to meet my hand on my wrist. You've got your box. I'm not sure why it's purple, but hey, it's a nice-looking box. You got your little warranty card and instructions, or you know, whatever that is. Great. There's the box. It's a nice enough box. Ooh, purple there too. It's a nice enough box, but you know, whatever. It's a box. Then you got your pillow. So what I'm going to do is take off my Longines so you can see them side by side. This is a Hydro Conquest 44 mil. Basically, the Longines version of a Submariner. It's a big watch. They also come in 39s and I think a 41, so you got 3 sizes to pick from. That's a pretty beefy watch. This is a 40. Now, normally I would be like, you know what? I don't want a 40 that's too small, but I have since gotten a couple 40s. But this, I was convinced was a 42 until he pulled out the caliper. And the reason is because that bezel is so goddamn thin that this dial itself is as big or bigger than most dials on like a 42 mil dive watch, because the dive watch or some field watches have a much thicker bezel, so the actual dial itself is considerably smaller. This is a 40. It looks like a 42. He was almost thinking, is this a 44? I'm like, no, I think it's a 42. And then we measured it, and we're like, holy shit, it's only 40. But it looks bigger. So the rest of the specs. This is the Green Museum Classic with concave dot there at the top at the 12. It only has 30 meters of water resistance. This is a dress watch, a mild sport watch. Don't go jumping in the pool. 3 atmospheres of water resistance. I wouldn't get more than a little splash. Let me just wipe the fingerprint off the dial. I wouldn't do more than a splash in the sink. I wouldn't take a shower with it. Certainly wouldn't get in a hot tub with it. Take this watch off if you're going to be in and around the water. It is a quartz movement, which I'm fine with because every time you buy another automatic, you buy another watch winder. It gets a little bit out of control. It is a 40 millimeter diameter. It does not give. Oh, I still got the little protective film thing on the whatchamacallit. I got to scratch off. I'm like, why is that blue? It's got plastic on it. So it is it doesn't give the rest of the dimensions here on the website. It does not say how thick it is. However, I'm guessing that is like, I don't know, 8.5. I mean, it's super thin. The Hydra Conquest for a watch this size, because it's quartz, the automatic is much thicker. It's a really thin watch. So nothing on the crown. All you have is the model number down there, Movado. And then what does that say? Well, I got a fingerprint right on it. I'm going to need reading glasses soon. I don't know what that says. I can't even freaking read it. I'll probably be able to read it when I go back here. If I can get it to focus. There we go. Very, very clean. Very elegant. Uses a nice butterfly clasp. And it is properly machined. Meanwhile, my Hydra Conquest, which is like MSRP on these is like 1,100. Oh, that one is, okay. No, that one is machined. So, but it's not a butterfly. My regular Conquest is a fully machined butterfly, which is really nice. So you've got a multi-link bracelet. Very, very nice. You've got a combination of brushed and then polished on the smaller links in the middle. It does have half links, which is nice. So these, I believe, were push pins. Yeah. So these are push pins. And then you've got regular links and half links. You've got a half link on each side. That is a really welcome thing to see on a butterfly clasp, because my Conquest is adjusted properly, but then there are others like my Victorinox Field Force, which is like a 42 or 43 millimeter. Really cool, really nice watch. Go look at the review on that. Has a butterfly clasp, and one link is just a little too loose and one's just a little too tight. So this is nice. It's a tiny bit loose. If I decided I wanted to take out a half link, I certainly can do that. But very, very nice. Just got to wipe it down and clean it up a little bit. I have it just a little bit loose. However, as your skin emits moisture and the watch warms up, it'll kind of stick in place, but it's not flopping. I can get away with this watch being just a little bit loose because it's so thin and light. This is a bit of a tank. This would be flopping and swinging around. This one really doesn't. This is gorgeous. So I'm going to do some little kind of macro stuff here. Let's see if we can get it to zoom in really nice. Very, very nice clasp. Nice click. Bless me. Just got a simple logo. What I like is it doesn't have all kinds of branding and logos everywhere. And that is the simplistic beauty of the museum piece. You don't even have numbers or indexes. It's just a really cool dial, which you can see that starburst effect as this thing moves around in the sunlight. Holy crap, this thing is dazzling. You see this from across the room when the light hits it. There's a lot of sparkly here. The hands are sparkly because they're not flat. They're actually beveled. They come to like a point like this. And so there's a facet and then there's a facet. So it catches the light from different angles and kicks it back to you when you've got a good light overhead. You've got your dot up at the top. This is absolutely gorgeous. I need to take the protective film off the back too, I guess. Took all the other ones off. But, just a simple snap in back. Again, it's not very waterproof. Stay out of the water. But I look at that and I'm like, that is just a gorgeous watch. Is it the nicest watch I have? No, not by a mile. I've got some pretty nice watches, micro brands and Longines and Hamilton and stuff like that. There is a Hamilton I probably will pick up at some point, but I saw this and I kind of fell in love. And a lot of the black dial ones, they have them in a smaller size. Um, but I saw the green and I was like, you know what? That's the one. I don't have a watch that's that color green. And to me, when I think of just an elegant, beautiful, clean, artistic, just a very visually appealing and classy, it's elegant while being a bit understated. I saw that and I was like, I gotta have it. Gotta have it. So MSRP on these things is like $895. You can find them on sale between a better part of $700 by the time you're done with taxes and stuff like that. Just a really neat watch. And you might say, well, that's kind of a lot of money for a quartz watch. Again, this one's quartz, $1,100. So, if you want the automatic version of this, you're going to spend 17, 18, 1900, something like that, plus tax. So it jumps the price up quite a bit. I'm fine with quartz. I don't mind changing a battery every 2, 3, 4 years. It's like, whatever. I have a whole stack of batteries and the tools to do it. But if it saves me of having to have multiple wax winders and a whole power strip of adapters to power all the damn things and stuff like that. But that is gorgeous. I'm going to enjoy wearing that. That might end up being one of my just go-to really nice, clean, freaking watches. I don't know who the hell is blowing up my goddamn email. Just spam. Constantly computer. Ba-bong, ba-bong, ba-bong. But there you go. Green stainless steel. They have some in gold. I'll tell you what, man, if they had a ruby red dial, that would be fantastic. But I haven't seen a red one with the silver. I've seen one that's gold with the red, but I don't have any gold. My wedding ring is in gold. I don't own anything else that's gold. Everything I have is stainless or black or a color. So I didn't want to go with the red and gold. But man, if they made one of these in red, that would be absolutely. I'd get another one just to have that color. But that is the Museum Classic. So not much else to say. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Here, you're like, oh, you got the indices. Let's check the lume. How's the dial action on the bezel? Let's see the screw down crown. This doesn't have any of that. It's just a watch. There's no date. There's no AM, PM. It is just what time is it in a very classy, elegant, and as I said, understated way. That is what this thing is about. And that's why I've loved this. I've wanted this watch for decades and then forgot about it. It wasn't until I started getting back into watches. I'm like, did they still even make that old one that I remember from my late teen years, but my early 20s where I was like, well, I guess I'm just going to get a $50 fossil because I can't afford $600 or $700 for one of these. The fact that they're still selling this today in that same price range, to me is crazy. That's a beautiful watch. I am really going to enjoy rocking this thing. So anyway, I'm going to go downstairs and see what the wife's doing. She's going to be picking up, I think, a Luminox, and she has her eye on a Hamilton khaki field watch, which is actually really nice. So she's now getting into watches. She's got 6 of them, I think, now, and she's about to start adding some more. And there you have it. I love the bracelet. I love the feel. It's just so thin, but it's not that light. Like you could tell these are solid links and there's steel here. It doesn't feel like a featherweight. It's not like it's so thin that it feels like a toy. It's weird. It's light, it's thin, it's compact, but it still feels solid. It still feels substantial. It doesn't feel like a trinket or something that's just cheaply put together. It's a really nice bracelet. Very, very impressed with that. So, all right, I think I moved my hands around too much, so we're going to do a real quick recap. There is your dial in green, and I hope that the damn camera with this lighting in here, it's a very cloudy day out, is picking up that green. No adornment on the crown, just simple, clean. The back, simple, clean. bracelet. It's very silky the way it just moves. It feels really good. That's a nice bracelet. And that's a really nice clasp. So, folks, that's all I have got. I'm going to go ahead and watch this and go downstairs and relax. Grab a nip of Brothers Bond bourbon. And we'll talk to you guys next time.